Okay, video number 2. This is just going to be background. So my name's Charlie McDowell. I have been in the trades most of my life. I started in residential construction in the Bay Area of California. I basically got on a job site with my buddy, doing demo on a house, on remodels, and yeah, that was pretty much how it started. Every once in a while I would split and move to like bartending or coffee shop or whatever, but throughout my entire life I pretty much was in the trades. Anyway, so mostly Bay Area work that was low, medium, high end. Kind of did all those 3 types. And then yeah, I mean, that's the main thing, right? Dirt time on the bags, just digging ditches, tearing apart kitchens, putting kitchens back together, seeing clients' interactions with my bosses. You know, that's the volume of my experience in the last 25 years. Things really shifted for me when I had kids. I got a job with a pretty serious bathroom remodel company. I started to learn a lot there, and then I jumped around from company to company. And then about 4 years ago, I started a company that was really kind of totally new and no one had really heard about. But I'm in California, and so we have a bunch of weird business entities here, and I decided I wanted to start a builders cooperative, and everybody involved put a ton of work into it. But the really interesting thing about the co-op is that everybody was an actual owner and everybody's vote counted. And so I don't know if you're a contractor, but imagine you had 6 other business owners. So needless to say, we had a really good run. It was about 3.5 years worth of work, and I was pretty much the unspoken leader the entire time. And we went from $0 to $1 million in that time, and it was a huge part in the work from the guys because they were owners. But I think I can say for sure that I was a big part of the reason why we got to that kind of revenue. So the reason why I'm telling that story is because it's the last story that happened before I got to where I am today. And something about the genesis of my company, Pacific Planning and Contract Solutions, has to do with the structure of that business. So because I had 7 owners in a construction company, I had to figure out how to deal with all of their write-offs, their receipts, their job costs, their bids, their budgets, if they're making money, if they're losing money, if there's profits that they get, if there's payroll they need run. Pretty much what happened was I found myself in a position where I needed to track and manage the entirety of 7 separate small businesses, small contracting businesses. And so what happened was I locked myself in an office for 2 years, and I think this was a huge part of the downfall of the business, because I think a lot of they told me so that was not what they wanted to do with the business. But essentially I locked myself in a closet, or an office, it was kind of a closet, for 2 years while I built an entire set of spreadsheets and taught myself Excel and Google Sheets. And when I came out, I had not only learned an incredible amount about what the back end of an administrative arm of a construction company does, but I had also miraculously somehow managed to learn a pretty solid set of Excel skills. This was right about the time that ChatGPT kind of came out as well, and so that kind of blew my mind. but it was kind of this perfect storm where I had to learn in a very quick way how to keep track of thousands of data points. And when it comes to residential remodel, especially in the Bay Area where you have huge budgets and a lot of regulations and laws, if you're not keeping track of the details, you're basically just waiting for something bad to happen. And it might not happen for a while. In fact, I know a lot of contractors who just, all through my childhood, they just kind of risked it. Like, they just spent their entire careers on a handshake, and they did really well, like really well, right? That's not to say that they weren't completely married to their jobs and, working at night and weekends and stuff like that. But anyways, so the genesis of this company came out of that company. The company itself, I think, is still in operation, but I'm not totally sure. I walked away with $700. I made no money. I walked away with like 20 grand in credit card debt. And super low point. But as old Hermosi says in his videos, if you want to keep making money, you definitely don't want to pivot and start an entire new endeavor into an industry that you don't have any skills in. You want a skill stack, or whatever the buzzword internet term is. So I didn't really realize this at the time. I just kind of realized that my history in the industry was actually pretty valuable, and that I had learned this other skill set, which is how to operate in California as a licensed contractor. And I said, oh, well, I know that most contractors hate doing this stuff, and that they're all out there basically putting themselves at risk. And the residential construction company or residential construction industry has kind of turned into this very just kind of like messy hogwash of like, this is how I do it, and this is how I've been doing it for a million years, and this is how that doesn't work, and everybody tells me that they've got it dialed in their company, yet I will listen to them complain about the things that are happening in their company for hours, right? And how they can't get their guys to do this, and how their clients always do this, and quite honestly, like, my experience has been that most of the general contractors I interact with are a bunch of whiny people, right? They a lot of times will play the victim. I don't know if this is familiar, but basically if you lose money on a job, a lot of contractors will just be like, well, that's because this, and this, otherwise we would have made money, or that's because California makes us do this, and at the end of the day, like, none of that matters. Like, if you're a contractor and you're blaming the failure of your business on other things, you should not be in business, because the whole point of a business is to make profit above all else. I mean, obviously follow the law and, don't be unethical, but like, if you're not making money because you're trying to be altruistic about your work or whatever, like, you shouldn't own a company. You should just not have a license, work for cash, and just keep yourself under the table. That's not legal advice. What I'm saying is that there's a lot of contractors out there who call themselves contractors, yet complain all day long that they're not getting what they need because they have no understanding of what it actually means to be a general contractor and to follow the regulations and laws that we have here. So what they really are is a freelancer. They should be freelancing and getting paid cash. And yes, California is not okay with that. I'll make a video on that later, but so anyways, so that was the genesis of this company, was all of that experience culminating into this company that I thought was gonna, provide for me my entire life. Then it took a total dip, and now I'm here and trying to figure out what to do. But, things are looking up. So that's a genesis video, and that's who I am, and that's my background. My actual tactical skills, I really focus mostly on finish work. I got very much into the carpentry finish side of things. I got really into installing trim, casework, cabinets, doors of any manner, like stain grade, paint grade, like anything basically finished carpentry related. I was really into, but I was also really into remodel framing, because remodel framing is completely different than new construction framing. So anyways, that's background video, and yeah, stay tuned for the next one.